Tonight on the WHAS11 night team, Louisville continues picking up the pieces following last night's storms.
Heard the transformer blow up.
An update for those left in the dark when LG&E expects power to be restored. Another U.S. community is left mourning after a mass shooting in Jacksonville, Florida.
I'm just tired seeing all the shootings.
More on the manifesto left behind by the suspect and what his motives were.
And there's a great swell of cheers to welcome Martin Luther King to the speaker's podium.
It's been 60 years since Dr. Martin Luther King proclaimed his dream as civil rights activists marched on Washington. How advocates are marking the day and keeping Dr. King's legacy alive. It all starts right now. Thanks for joining us. I'm Connor Steffen. As LG&E crews continue to work to restore power, some neighborhoods are going to be left sleeping in the dark tonight. Thanks for joining us. It comes after storms barreled through the area last night, leaving power outages and damage in its wake. WHAS 11's Alexis Jones and photojournalist Elijah McKenzie have the latest from the Bonnie Castle neighborhood, hit hard by storms.
According to LG&E, nearly 300 crew members spent the day picking up the pieces from Friday night's storm, including this huge tree right behind me in the Bonnie Castle neighborhood, cutting off power for several residents. After almost 24 hours without lights, power is finally restored on Murray Avenue.
It's good to see that they came out and took care of it.
Like many others, Alex Casley says he was prepared to spend the next few days in the dark. He even planned a busy Saturday night away from home.
I was actually going to go inside, get my steaks that should still be fine, and then go grill them out with some friends at the parks. Had no idea if the power was going to be back on when I got home. So needless to say, pulling up and saying that the power is going to be back on is a relief.
Cassie says the electricity went out moments after he pulled onto the street Friday. He says he was just a turn away from a disaster.
Had I taken the longer way with traffic, I mean, who knows? Maybe I might have been under the tree.
Thankfully, he and no one else were hurt.
I think everybody made out all right except for the poor tree.
Which Safai customers say is unfortunate to hear.
Patrons will really feel the effects as they wait on the outside of Safai, which is a great local cafe if you've not yet visited. But without the tree, patrons waiting will be a lot warmer than they were before.
Casley agrees his brunches at the coffee shop will no longer be the same, but after a long day in the sun, he's grateful to have at least one thing back.
AC, you know, like it's already really hot last night. Having AC will be great.
In Louisville, Alexis Jones, WHAS 11 on your side.
Right now, 6,400 are still without power across Jefferson County. That's according to the LG&E power outage map. That's an improvement from late last night when at one point nearly 26,000 people were without power. A few hours ago around 6:30 there was about 2,000 more people without power, so we are seeing improvements. However, officials say thousands could remain in the dark until at least Monday. Over in the Highview neighborhood, an update tonight on the officer injured in the storms last night. LMPD says the officer was released from the hospital earlier this morning. The officer was stationed on Applegate Lane guarding the condemned houses when a tree fell on her car. She was treated at the hospital for minor injuries. We want to know what things look like where you live. If you have any storm damage, send us a photo or video. You can text it to 502-582-7290. Now to Jacksonville, Florida, the latest community left mourning after an unthinkable act of gun violence. 4 people, including a gunman, are now dead after a mass shooting, which police are saying was racially motivated. They have not yet identified the suspect, a white man in his 20s. Police say they found several manifestos left behind by the shooter describing his hatred toward black people. ABC's Chuck Syverston has the details.
A massive police response in Jacksonville, Florida, as a gunman opened fire inside a Dollar General store.
Jacksonville has suffered the loss of 3 precious lives at the hands of an active shooter.
Police are not identifying the shooter, but say he's a white male in his 20s and lived in neighboring Clay County. They say he entered the dollar store with an AR-style rifle and a handgun. He then allegedly shot and killed 3 people before turning the gun on himself. All 3 victims were black, 2 men and 1 woman. They also have not yet been identified. Authorities say the alleged shooter texted his father early Saturday afternoon telling him to check his computer. His family then called the Clay County Sheriff's Office after finding writings allegedly by the suspect.
Portions of these manifestos detail the shooter's disgusting ideology of hate. Plainly put, this shooting was racially motivated and he hated black people.
Jacksonville's mayor visited the scene shortly after the shooting.
I'm heartbroken, obviously. This is a community that has suffered. We must do everything that we can to dissuade this type of hate.
The community coming together Saturday afternoon to pray for the victims.
The people in this community, they're hurting, and they have every right to. This makes no sense. I am very, very angry right now. You know, we got kids in this community seeing all of this, and this is unnecessary.
The FBI says it is investigating the incident as a hate crime.
Hate crimes are always and will always remain a top priority for the FBI because they are not only attack on a victim, they are also meant to threaten and intimidate an entire community.
Chuck Sievertson, ABC News, New York.
Meanwhile, in Oklahoma, a teen was killed and 2 others injured after a shooting at a high school football game last night. It sent players and fans scrambling off the field to hunker down during the third quarter. The 16-year-old killed was not a student at either school playing that night. A 42-year-old man is in the ICU after being shot in the chest, and a young woman was treated and released.
I hate that it happened. We both have great students. We both have great cities that we work for, that we protect. We always have security at our games. I know I had 5 officers here. Chief Berger had at least two, maybe 3. At least 2. And that's just normal. That's just routine that we have for the safety and security.
Police say they believe an argument between 2 men on the visitor side led to the shooting. Police in Oldham County say several high school students now face terroristic threatening charges because of a TikTok challenge. Now, we first told you about this startling trend last week. The social media challenge encourages students to record themselves telling a teacher there is a bomb or gun in their backpack. According to police, 3 15-year-old students from Oldham County High School have now been charged in incidents connected to the challenge. Police think another incident at South Oldham County High School might have been inspired by the trend. Another 15-year-old student faces harassing communications charges related to that incident.
Please put 8155 in service, 8151 be out of service.
Zoneton Fire Chief Kevin Moulton officially marking Zone's new fire truck in service today. The department dedicated its new ladder truck, which they say has been years in the making. The new truck replaces an old one that's been in service since 1996. That truck will be retired, but could be put back into service by another department in the future. Today's ceremony included a blessing from the chaplain, remarks from the chief, and a spraying down the truck with water from one of its replacing trucks. The new ladder truck will be housed at Station 1 to serve the growing area, which includes a new hospital, several warehouses, and manufacturing facilities. And LMPD taking the first steps toward what many hope is a bright future, officially swearing in the first black woman to permanently serve as police chief. Chief Jackie Gwen Billerowell takes over the department during a crucial time in LMPD's history. The department faces a number of challenges ahead, from officer shortages and morale issues to a lack of community trust. With a consent decree looming, Billerowell says she's ready.
I want to thank each and every community members that truly said that we weren't doing it right, because guess what? We heard you, and now we're going to get it right. I appreciate you. I appreciate your voice for being so loud and so clear, so that LMPD can now turn the corner to being great.
Attending the ceremony was a who's who of Louisville and Kentucky leaders. U.S. Congressman Morgan McGarvey was also in the crowd. And of course, Chief Billerowell's own family flew in from Atlanta for the event. This Monday will mark 60 years since Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. led 250,000 people in the March on Washington for jobs and freedom. Today, thousands gathered in the nation's capital to commemorate the event. In 1963, Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech helped spur the passage of Federal Civil Rights Act in 1964 and the voting rights legislation in 1965. Now, 60 years later, advocates say those ideas are under attack once again.
I don't want to let Dr. King down. I want him to still believe that he has a dream, and that dream is our dream.
My fight is for me. My fight is for the world. My fight is for anybody who looks like me and talks like me.
Organizers of this year's commemoration says today the fight is about voter suppression, housing discrimination, police and racial violence, and racial disparities in employment and education, along with other basic civil rights. Louisville was well represented in the historic march today. 2 buses of Louisvillians joined thousands to mark the day in protest. And they too hope that Dr. King's fight is not yet over.
And we are here just trying to do our part, remembering that if it had not been for those who marched and those who demonstrated and those who protested in the years past, life for us would not be as it is today. So we want to do our part for this generation and incoming generations, that they might keep the dream alive.
Meanwhile, a reunion was taking place in the California neighborhood. Neighbors gathered for what was the 33rd annual reunion today. Organizers say it's a way for the community to celebrate their history while looking towards their future.
I am from this community, born and raised. My family dates back since the early 1920s, and my grandmother was one of the founders of California Day, and after she passed, I was asked if I could continue this legacy.
The event featured food vendors, inflatables, and more.